If you've ever wanted to attend a Stanley Cup Finals playoff game, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. We're back for the second day of June here. It is Tuesday, which means it is a T3 Tuesday. Got a T3 guest for you here today. We got some news and some movement on the earnings. Marvell, wow. We'll talk about all of that. Talk about where maybe some of the next plays are. I'd love to get your folks' idea on what the next big AI play is. Is it up? Is it down? What stock is it? I'd like to hear from you. We got news to cover. We got trades to go over. And we've got fun to be had. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Tuesday edition for June 2nd, 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. I hope that you all had a wonderful rest of your Monday. The week kind of started out with a bang there. We're going to have some more fun today, and we're going to continue that forward here. Solitary Soldier is first here today. Good morning, Solitary Soldier. Good morning. Welcome back. You are first here today. Janie is second. Jane, good morning. It's great to see you again. Welcome back. Peter, good morning. Good to see you again, as always. According to my cat calendar, summer begins on June 21st. I think summer has already begun. To me, it seems like Memorial Day is the official start of summer, but that's just me. But I'm not going to argue with the cat calendar. Not going to argue with the cat calendar. Good morning, Peter. Great to have you back. Derek, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you, as always, boss. Robert, welcome back. Good morning. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Yes, that girl. Good morning. Welcome back. Ezra, good morning. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, good morning. And good morning to the Benzie gang indeed. Welcome back. Francis, good morning. Positive Trader, good morning. It's good to see you again, too. Reaching Financial Freedom, good morning. Brian, good morning. Brian saying HPE, is it a real player in the DCAI space now? I mean, I would say, yeah, it definitely is, especially in the infrastructure side, right? Its current portfolio includes turnkey private AI systems that were co-developed with NVIDIA. So I would think so. Let me know if you have a different opinion. Good morning, producer. Thanks for all you do, boss. Could not do it without you. Marionette, good morning. Long time no see. Marionette, welcome back. Hopefully all is going well with you. It's great to see you again. John, good morning. John, I feel like we've seen you before a long time ago too, but haven't seen you in a little bit. If my memory is serving me correctly, which is not a guarantee, good morning and welcome back. It's great to see you again. Cam, good morning from the Menosphere, people of Earth. Good morning, Cam. It's great to have you back here. Mike says QUCY has drone production news. All right, let me add QUCY to my note sheet here. We can. I actually haven't taken a look at any of the movers today. So I'll add that to the list here. We'll take a look at that. The drone production thing. I know that's kind of, some of those companies have kind of been up and down. I think UMAC got a $40 price target this morning. Roth out with a $40 price target on UMAC. The drone theme it might remain volatile, but it is absolutely early, and there's going to be plenty of more plays than that. So we'll definitely take a look at QUCY. We'll break that news down for you, Mike. That probably is not going to happen for about another hour, though. FYI. Neville, good morning. Great to see you again. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Welcome back. Buffalo by Bicycle saying the algorithm is back. I didn't have to search this morning, but I hit the like anyway. My man. That's great. That actually should be proof positive that simply hitting the like button actually helps us. Maybe that didn't change the algorithm for everybody. Maybe not everybody's homepage had that back, but it worked for you. So again, be sure to keep smashing up that like on the daily there. Neville says freestyle on the beat. Neville, if you have a freestyle to the countdown music, I want to hear that. There's no doubt about that. That'd be something else. It's great to see you, Neville. Unpopular Truth, good morning. Lion Atlas or Hamid. I guess there's a lot of confusion here because I've been calling Lion by his OG name and then YouTube changed his handle. For all of those that don't know, Lion is Hamid. Hamid is Lion. Good morning. Welcome back. Buffalo by Bicycle says Marvell and then the smiling heart eyes. You're probably not the only one that feels that way. Boy, Jensen really did it up. Right at Computex saying Marvell is going to be the next $1 trillion company. Yeah, giddy up. Marvell actually had pretty good news yesterday. We'll talk a little bit about that here. Acorns, good morning. It's great to see you. Linda, good morning. It's great to see you again as well. Dirkus, good morning. Ed, good morning. Lion saying we really made some great calls here. Marvell and Micron, absolutely we have. Like I said, I know we have some fun here, and I know sometimes the fun devolves into, bickering and arguing occasionally, but it's important to remember that what we've kind of created here in terms of like a area where everyone can show up and discuss and share stock ideas, it's very, very unique. And it's those that have stuck around for a long time, you have been witness to some really, really extreme moves. And I want to keep that going, Lion. That's just one of the reasons why I interact with you guys so much every day, is because I know there's greatness out there, and I want to bring as much of it from our community to the table as possible. So the only thing I can say, Lion, and this goes to you and everybody else, just keep it up. Keep it up. We'll make this a community that we will not soon forget. Jim, good morning, everybody. Sorry, Ryan, getting in a ton of golf. Please do me a huge favor from here to for the rest of your life. Please never apologize for playing golf under any circumstance. Cam, good morning. Welcome back. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Yeah, so fine. Yo, let's go. Good to see you again. Yeah, so fine. Welcome back. Welcome back. Jay Harris, Ryan, how much do stocks usually pull back because Broadcom is off the chain or AVGO is off the chain? So pullbacks, there is no like normal pullback. I guess maybe 5, 10, 20%, the levels that we talk about. Broadcom, this thing's running into earnings. I don't know what to think about this. I think it's going to beat. I don't know what it's going to do afterwards, but we can take a look at Broadcom. We normally always do. Let me add that to the list here again as well. And it's good to see you again. Captain Cloudy, good morning. Welcome back. Lion, we should be very proud of this group. And I appreciate you pumping out that positivity. That's what we really need here. I love it. JJ, good morning. Just passing through. Good morning. 2-2 up. Good morning. Chris, good to see you again. Good morning. Corey, good morning. Kelly, good morning. Kathy, good morning. Duty, good morning. Wiss, it's great to see you again. D. Gordon, welcome back. Who am I missing here? Pick the pros and ponies. I love that. Good morning. Welcome back, Big Bees. It's good to see you again as well. Headed back to the States this week. Make that money, Big Bees. We can't wait to see you stateside, brother. Appreciate all that you do for us. Edmund, good morning. Fake Beat, good morning. Alvin, good morning. Mo Chillin, good morning. Big Grip, good morning. Razia, good morning. Lav, good morning. I love this show. We love you. That's awesome. Does anyone feel like GitLab is a good play for earnings today? I don't have an angle on it for earnings. I would turn that over to the group here. I will add it to the list so we can take a look at the chart together at some point here today. Richard, good morning. Free Diddy tomorrow. Good morning. You're not first, Free Diddy. Sorry, man. Patrick, good morning. First timer here. Patrick, I hope that you enjoy yourself. We have a great stock trading community here, so I'm sure you'll fit right in. Good morning. It's great to see you, and we hope to see you back. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, futures red across the board here today. NASDAQ actually just dipping into the red. That was green a little bit earlier. S&P futures down 0.19%. The Dow futures down 0.40%. And the NASDAQ now down 0.09%. Again, that actually came from green territory about an hour ago. So we'll see if any of these bounce here today. We've seen bounces quite a bit. All right, let's take a look at some cues from last session here. Let me get this all queued up for you. Energy and information technology stocks bucked the overall market trend on Monday, closing the session higher, while most sectors on the S&P 500 closed on a negative note, with utilities, consumer discretionary, and real estate stocks recording the biggest losses. U.S. stock futures fell a little bit on Tuesday after a record close on Monday, starting the month of June on a positive note. Remember, we also had inflows yesterday for being the first of the month. President Trump appeared unfazed by the possibility of negotiations collapsing with Iran. Quote, "I really don't care. I couldn't care less," end quote. Trump told CNBC when he was asked about reports suggesting that Iran may halt talks with Washington. Also, he predicted that crude would soon be, quote, dropping like a rock, end quote, and gasoline would plummet to $1.85 a gallon once the crisis resolves. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.43%, and the 2-year bond was at 4.02%. CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projections show that the markets are pricing in a 98.4% likelihood that the Federal Reserve leaves the current interest rates unchanged during the June meeting. Now, I've got several stocks in focus for you here today. The first one is going to be Hewlett Packard. This is ticker HPE. So this is Hewlett Packard Enterprise. It surged 26.6% in the pre-market on Tuesday after it reported higher than expected second quarter results after the market closed. Company's EPS came in at 79 cents. That was ahead of consensus at 53 cents. And it posted revenue of $10.68 billion, which beat the estimate of $9.79 billion. The next stock on our list is going to be Google or Alphabet. The ticker here is GOOG or GOOGL. And it was 2.48% lower as the Google parent company announced plans to sell stock worth $80 billion, including a $10 billion investment by Berkshire Hathaway, ticker BRK/A, BRK/B. And they did this to raise money for the AI build-out. So it was an $80 billion offering. $10 billion of that was actually a private placement with Berkshire. That's why it's moving down. And I actually have a story for you and some more opinion on that coming up here. But they're doing it to raise money for the AI build-out. Now, you could look at this two ways. If that goes well, probably not going to hurt the stock in the long run. If they raise this money and the AI build-out slows down or fizzles at all, that's where we might see problems. Too early to say just yet. The next stock on our list is going to be Super Micro Computer, and the ticker is SMCI. It advanced 5.06% as it is a direct HPE rival in the high-density AI server market. The sympathy moves underscore the market's view that HPE's AI-driven demand surge isn't company-specific. Rather, it is a sector-wide tailwind. The next stock on our list, big show winner, Marvell. Ticker is MRVL, and it soared 25.32% as NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang said it was, quote, the next trillion-dollar company, end quote, at the Computex conference in Taipei, Taiwan. The final stock on our list is going to be Palo Alto Networks. The ticker on this one is PANW, and it was 0.28% lower as analysts expect it to report earnings of 78 cents to 81 cents on revenue of $2.94 billion, and that comes after the closing bell today. All right. Let's load up the chart here. Good morning to a couple of other folks that are joining us. Yassine, it's good to see you. Ryan, I'm glad you're back. I felt homeless. Yassine, you're too kind. And I did get a haircut. I really needed it. Pick one, pros and ponies. You got your answer there on Google. Awesome. And Buffalo by Bicycle says Google's a buy on that. I can't wait to get back to that. We're going to get back to Google here in a little bit, but I got to not get sidetracked. All right. Here's what the chart looks like. Guess what? Another all-time high yesterday. That value here is going to be 760.28. That immediately is going to be a key level today. We'll see if we end up breaking it and continue to move higher. Otherwise, what we're looking for here on a potential pullback is going to be a move back towards 750. This area seems to me that this is going to have some type of support effect if we come down there. We also have the 20-day at 743. Depending on how long it takes to come back into 750 will depend on whether or not that 20 actually creeps up a little bit to support it. But we continue to melt higher here. Volume is still low. We're looking at the all-time high as a key level, 750 on the downside, 743 further to the downside. Now, let's take a look at some insights from analysts here. See what they think about everything. According to Jeffrey Bookbinder, chief equity strategist for LPL Financial, the U.S. stock market is currently, quote, fairly valued at its current forward PE of 21 to 22 times, end quote, when factoring in the broader macroeconomic backdrop. While Bookbinder acknowledges that stock valuations look elevated by traditional metrics, he believes they reflect, quote, continued economic resilience, eventual inflation moderation, lower interest rates, and meaningful AI productivity gains, end quote. Looking ahead, Bookbinder remains optimistic, predicting that, quote, this bull market extends through 2027, end quote. And that is supported by massive AI investments and fiscal stimulus. LPL Research expects the U.S. economy to grow by 2% in 2026. And although geopolitical disruptions might briefly trim the growth, it won't be, quote, nearly enough to bring a recession into play, end quote. Bookbinder anticipates robust S&P 500 earnings per share of $320 or higher in 2026 and over $350 in 2027. Assuming a 22 price to earnings multiple, he notes the index fair value could potentially reach the range of 7,700 to 7,800. Ultimately, while further equity gains are likely through the year end, he expects earnings and cash flow growth to do the heavy lifting. And that is, in fact, what we've seen so far. We actually got a question last week, can't remember who it was from or which show it was from, regarding year-end S&P targets, which we are almost already at. He's telling you here 77 to 7,800 on the S&P cash. I mean, the ES right here is at 7,600. Right? Let me check what the SPX is here. SPX 7,600 right now, 7,599 was that closing print. So I do expect a good year, but I do expect a pullback still, another pullback at some point in this year. I know a lot of you folks are thinking about that as well. You guys have been talking about that, maybe preparing for that, maybe keeping cash on hand for when that eventually materializes. I think that's really smart here. As far as economic data, we just have Cleveland Fed President Beth Hammack speaking at 8:55. April's job openings report will be out by 10 here today. Okay, thank you for discussing GitLab. We'll take another look at that when we get some more time here, but at least we're getting some answers on the whole GitLab question early on. That's fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about this HPE earnings report. The CEO says customers are racing to deploy AI and don't want to be left behind. And I think that there's a big takeaway from this. I was actually talking to a couple of my trader friends yesterday. You know, we're talking about when is the market going to pull back? How do we time that? How do we do all of these things? And I've really come down to there's three things that are going to end up bringing this market down. And I took notes on it. The first one is going to be the slowing of Mag 7 CapEx spend. We haven't seen that yet. We're seeing Google's do an offering to raise more money for AI stuff. So that's not happening yet. Data center rollout slows or stops. The one thing here is that we're definitely seeing more data centers get built. There is a lot of red tape to get that stuff approved. So this one might kind of be a slow moving one. But that, I think, would stop the rally here. And then finally, the last one here, data center customers like LLMs can't show revenue or just simply overguess what they're going to make on that. If any of those three things or a combination of those three things happen, this market, I think, is going to pull back. And I think one of the things that you're seeing from this report here is that the CEO is saying customers are racing to deploy AI because they don't want to be left behind. This means that they realize that AI is going to be something huge and they just can't be the one left without a chair when the music stops. That's my read through on it. We'll see how this ends up going, but let's take a look at the report here real quick. Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, again, ticker HPE, stocks surged in the pre-market trading on Tuesday after the company reported fiscal second quarter results that easily topped Wall Street's expectations and raised its full-year outlook on strong demand for AI infrastructure, servers, and, of course, networking products. Adjusted earnings jumped 108% year over year to 79 cents per share. That was well ahead of the 53-cent analyst estimate. Revenue rose 40% to $10.68 billion. That topped estimate consensus of $9.79 billion and exceeded the high end of management's guidance range. The company said total orders more than doubled from a year earlier and continue to grow significantly faster than revenue. Pretty impressive stuff. And I wouldn't have pegged it on HPE, but it is what it is. Gross margin expanded 750 basis points to 36.9%. That was helped by a favorable product mix, pricing actions, catalyst cost savings, and synergies from the Juniper integration. Operating profit increased to $1.4 billion, resulting in an operating margin of 13.3%, compared with 8% a year earlier. Operating cash flow totaled $1.4 billion, while free cash flow reached $915 million during the quarter. HPE also received about $1.36 billion in cash proceeds from the sale of its remaining 19% stake in H3C Technologies. Since announcing its exit from the joint venture, the company has generated approximately $3.5 billion in total pre-tax proceeds from said investment. The company said its Catalyst restructuring program remains ahead of schedule. Headcount has been reduced by more than 9% to roughly 65,000 employees, while AI-driven automation now accounts for about 20% of fiscal 2026 savings initiatives. Networking revenue reached $2.7 billion and posted double-digit growth on a normalized basis. Orders continue to outpace revenue growth, signaling sustained demand. All of that good stuff there. Campus and brand networking orders reached record levels, rising the upper 20% range. Wi-Fi 7 access point sales increased more than sevenfold, while data center switching orders climbed nearly 20%, and routing orders rose close to 30%, supported by cloud and AI infrastructure spending. Cloud and AI revenue increased 23% to $7.7 billion. Server revenue rose 33%, aided by triple-digit growth in traditional server orders tied to AI inferencing workloads and infrastructure modernization projects. AI systems generated $1.8 billion in new orders during the quarter, bringing cumulative bookings to $16.4 billion. HPE ended the quarter with $5.9 billion AI backlog, while management said its pipeline remains several times larger than that. CEO Antonio Neri said customers remain committed to AI investments despite budget pressures from higher commodity-driven costs. Speaking on the earnings call, Neri said the company has not seen customers pull back spending or delay projects. Remember what we were just talking about in terms of what's really going to make this market turn around? Well, HPE is telling you straight from the CEO, we're not seeing that yet. Instead, organizations are accelerating technology deployments to avoid falling behind the race to adopt artificial intelligence. Quote, nobody wants to be left behind when it comes down to deploying AI, end quote. Neri said this, adding that demand remains strong even as customers navigate a more challenging cost environment. HPE significantly increased its fiscal 2026 outlook and now expects adjusted earnings of $335 to $345 per share, up from a prior guide of $230 to $250 and well above the analyst estimate of $243. The company also raised fiscal 2026 revenue guidance to a range of $44.24 billion to $45.61 billion. That was compared with the previous guide of $40.13 to $41.84 billion. Analysts had expected revenue of about $40.89 billion. HPE now forecasts fiscal 2026 revenue growth of 29 to 33% and free cash flow of at least $3.5 billion. This thing adjusted itself. Sorry about that. For the third quarter, the company expects adjusted earnings of 88 cents to 93 cents per share on revenue of 11.5 to 12.1 billion. Analysts were expecting earnings of 58 cents per share on revenue of 10.94 billion. And looking ahead to fiscal 2027, I can't believe we're already looking ahead to fiscal 2027, but we are. HPE projects revenue growth of 8 to 12% and adjusted EPS growth of 12 to 16% and free cash flow of at least $4.5 billion. So, Brian, given that, what do you think? Is it a major player now? What do you think? This is just one of those things where it's like, if you can get compute or you can get chips, get them. Ask questions later. We're seeing that across the board. FLNC, Lion, we will take another look at that. I want you to elaborate a little bit on that. I know you talked about that being the next bloom. But let's elaborate on that. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we have some time. Okay, and then I think I got everything there. I don't think I missed anything on that. You guys like GitLab. Okay. All right, we're caught up. We're doing good. All right. What's the time here? We're also doing good on that. All right, let's talk about this Google story. I know this is one of the big things that's kind of going on here today. Alphabet wants $80 billion for AI, and Jim Cramer warns that Google could become, quote, a real slog. So if you're part of the group that thinks, the inverse Cramer thing, and you like Google, this is great for you because it sounds like Cramer's coming out a bit negative on Google here. Let's take a look. Alphabet, ticker GOOG or GOOGL, is looking to raise $80 billion through massive equity offerings to fund its aggressive artificial intelligence infrastructure push, sparking sharp criticism from some prominent Wall Street voices. The Google parent company announced plans to secure the capital through a multi-tiered corporate financing strategy. This includes a high-profile $10 billion private placement to Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway, ticker BRK/A or /B. And that was split evenly across the A and the C stocks. Alphabet will also launch $30 billion in concurrent public offerings and a massive $40 billion at the market offering program scheduled for the third quarter. The unprecedented capital raise follows Alphabet boosting its annual capital spending forecast to between 180 and 190 billion to meet the soaring AI-driven demand. The scale and structure of the capital raise immediately drew fire from Jim Cramer, who cautioned that the structural approach could weigh heavily on ordinary investors. Taking to social media yesterday, Cramer argued that the at-the-money offering by Google was really trip up the common and not a good idea. While acknowledging that a gradual ATM program might seem easier than issuing a single massive block of shares, Cramer warned that the move, quote, will turn the stock into a real slog if not careful, end quote. Cramer was not the only market veteran to expressing criticism over the deal. Renowned short seller Jim Chanos questioned the fundamental necessity of the massive capital raise, pointing directly to the tech giant's existing financial cushion. On X, Chanos noted that Goog did have $126 billion of cash and marketable securities at March 31st, and he was referring to Alphabet's robust balance sheet. Despite the pullback, supporters noted that Berkshire's investment adds high-profile endorsement, proving that major players believe Alphabet will earn a reasonable return on its capital expenditure. And I think Buffalo by Bicycle summed it up just fine for us here. Google's gonna be just fine. This is the camp that I'm in. I understand the whole offering thing. I understand what Cramer is saying here. I revert back to what I just talked about at the onset of the HPE story there. What's going to happen? Are data centers going to slow? Are LLMs not going to make enough money? Or are they going to capitulate? Which one is going to actually bring it down here? I don't know that a Google offering to expand AI is... I think we got some time on this. And Buffalo by Bicycle, I'm with you. I think they're going to be just fine. Okay. We still got a couple of minutes. We are doing good here. Let's talk a little bit about Marvell. This will kind of recap it. Remember, Jensen Huang said that this is going to be the next trillion-dollar company. They had a deal with Marvell. Marvell's been on just an absolutely massive run, so that happened. But we also got some news yesterday. I don't know how much we talked about it. We got the news early in the morning, and Marvell had a good day yesterday, but I'm not sure how much we talked about it. I just wanted to recap it real quick before we get to our T3 guest here today. Marvell Technologies, ticker MRVL, jumped in Tuesday's pre-market trading session after the latest results strengthened investor confidence in its AI-driven growth. The rally comes despite mixed index futures and extends a powerful uptrend that has lifted the stock nearly 257% over the past year. Investors are piling into Marvell on optimism around AI and data center demand. The breakout above prior highs signaled continued momentum buying and suggests the stock's long-term uptrend remains intact. Who's still holding Marvell, by the way, while we're on this? Separately, Marvell on Monday launched the Teralynx T100. When I first read that, the first thing I thought about was Terminator, but that's just me. Anyway, the Teralynx T100, which it said is the industry's first 102.4 terabits per second switch silicon designed specifically for AI and cloud data centers. The company said the switch delivers up to 25% lower power consumption than competing products and is optimized for AI training and inference workloads. Customer sampling is expected to begin this quarter. I want to pause right there because I actually think that this is going to be something that we're going to see more and more of. The thought about power and what's required to do all of this AI stuff, that is not going away. And I actually suspect that we're going to see a shift where some of the new products, whether they are chips or racks or anything connected to the infrastructure here, if it has less power consumption, it's going to be sought after. And right here with Marvell, they're talking about a switch with 25% less power consumption. I think this is going to be a trend. We'll see if I'm right about that. I suspect we're going to see more and more of this as some of these infrastructure devices are developed. The T100 supports up to a 512 port radix for large AI clusters and is compatible with emerging AI networking standards, including the Ethernet Scale-Up Networking, or ESUN, and the Ultra Ethernet Consortium requirements. Marvell said the switch is designed to help hyperscalers deploy more AI accelerators within existing power limits while reducing network latency and complexity. Last week, Marvell reported adjusted earnings of 80 cents per share, which topped the estimate of 79 cents per share, according to Benzinga Pro. Revenue came in at $2.42 billion, which exceeded the consensus estimate of $2.4 billion, and increasing from $1.9 billion a year ago. Looking ahead, Marvell forecasts second quarter adjusted earnings of 88 cents to 98 cents per share, and that was compared to analyst expectations of 90 cents. The company also projected revenue of $2.57 billion to $2.84 billion versus the consensus estimate of $2.6 billion. So Marvell, good earnings. Now they have a new switch that is less power hungry. Marvell has just been an absolute monster for us here. And it looks like that's going to continue, at least in the near term here for the time being. Marvell had a high going into today of 225.14 in the pre-market here today. It hit a high of 283.14. It's since backed off that by about 30 points, 25 points. But keep Marvell on your radar here today. I would not be surprised if this gets rolling again. All right, let's go back to Pro. It is a T3 Tuesday, which means it's guest time. Let's go ahead and bring on our T3 trader here today, Charlie Moon. Hey, Charlie, good morning. How you doing, my man?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you?
Hey, doing great. That's what I wanted to hear. I'm also doing great here. I think the last time we talked about the market running up. Between now and then, guess what? The market's run up some more. So we've continued to trade higher here on low volume. I just want to start here. What's on your radar?
I heard you talking about MRVL. That's obviously the big one. They had an explosive move yesterday. Really just the froth in this name has been incredible. The expedited jump since, I would say probably late April, early May, this stock has started trading like their Micron, and their gains have been incredible. They're continuing to stack. They're getting more positive news today. They're set to open right now almost $40 higher than where they closed yesterday. And this is really just the start. It really looks like, because there's no slowdown in this momentum. This has been one of the better names to trade from a consistency standpoint and a performance standpoint. While it doesn't mirror the gains that Dell has given in the last few weeks, this has been one of those standouts where on the pullbacks, the markets have been jumping all over this name. So really love the potential. I really think that they're going to be knocking on the door of 300 by the end of this week.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Actually, it looks like one of our chatters here, the same thing. Saving in energy costs is a dream for all AI companies, so I expect Marvell to keep going up for a while. Sure seems like that's going to be the case here. Charlie Moon opening his Momentum Stocks trading room for a special open house starting Monday, June 9th. 5 days of expert analysis, real setups, and real-time signals from Prosper's top momentum trader. Get your free access now. The QR code is on the screen. Charlie, I had to start with a good momentum name there, so I'm glad we talked about Marvell. Can you talk a little bit about what folks can expect from your open house?
Yeah, so we do a mix of day trading and swing trading. So generally within the first 2 hours of the morning, it's all focused on day trading. It's actually really more on live lessons where I teach about price action, looking for short-term opportunities, whether they're reversals at extremes or breakout plays. One of the most difficult things that people have a difficulty trusting is buying into trends, especially early on. One of the things that I love to teach is that even though you may be theoretically buying the highs at that moment, depending on when it starts to break out, it could really be the start of the day's range or trend. And so it's just kind of a blend of recognizing, short-term opportunities with defined risk and really kind of spotting the opportunities that could lead to success. And the room, the momentum room, the name is correct. We like to focus on high beta names.
Sure.
See us in Rivian, you'll be seeing us swing around in names like AMD, MRVL, Micron, and such. So,
okay, if momentum names are what you're looking for, this open house might be perfect for you. Thanks, Charlie, and I'm glad we're able to do that. I actually might stop by and check that out. That's all right.
please.
See how that'd be awesome. That would be absolutely awesome. Okay, good stuff there on Marvell. Let me ask you: is there any other momentum name that you're really looking at here this week? Can I ask you about Palo Alto or Broadcom?
Sure, of course.
Okay, so which one do you want to do first here?
Let's talk about Palo Alto. We've seen these software stocks getting absolutely wild, and more importantly, it's been these cybersecurity names that have taken the lead ever since they've gotten above the 200-day moving average. It's been parabolic. It's been just a continuous stack along with CrowdStrike. Okta's obviously fueled the fire here a bit in this recent pop in IGV stocks, the software stocks. We've seen Palo Alto pretty much go from $250 to $300 in a 3-day trading period. Now, leading into earnings, this is what I say: when you get propped up on a pedestal, when you're trading at levels like this, the expectations are at the extreme, and without a picture perfect earnings report, it's more likely that the stock's going to go down versus up, regardless of how strong their earnings report may be on paper. So that's something to kind of be aware of. I know that a lot of people are just going to be interested in buying a lot of calls. Some will be looking to fade this rally. And, that's the position I usually take when we're trading at either all-time highs or it's on a huge extended run over the last quarter from where it was at the end of last quarter to the start of this quarter. If the gains are quite significant, you just have to have them. You just have to understand that Wall Street's going to have a really high expectation. It's going to be really difficult for the markets to at least meet those expectations, let alone exceed them. And when there's disappointment, there's always risk off trading. So it's something to be aware of going today.
And you're exactly right about that. And you know what? As you were describing that kind of makes me think that's what we saw here in Credo, right? So we had a pretty good report. They beat top and bottom line. They guided higher, but was it enough? Stock traded down 4.2%. It's like they didn't clear the bar enough. And sometimes I wonder when you have a stock that's just absolutely going gangbusters like this, like what's it going to take for this to trade up some more? Not only do you have to beat, but you got to beat big. And it worries me. I'll tell you what, Charlie, going in the way I look at stuff like this is looking at a stock that's traded like this, going into a report that's going to be important like this. I am expecting it to put up a good number, but I don't have an expectation for this to trade higher. I've got no idea what kind of number they're going to put out. My strategy for this is waiting the earnings report out, kind of going through it. If it sells off on a good report, then maybe it's a bounce candidate. If it's extended and the report wasn't that good, maybe there's some more room to the short side. Is that a decent way to look at this, or am I just missing the boat?
No, 100%. Yesterday is a great example of that as well, where HPE not only exceeded expectations, but beat them pretty steadily. And obviously, HPE prior to that, quite honestly, in the last 3 months, made a move greater than the last 5 years. And even at that point, HPE was just exploding, in relation to what the type of performance the stock normally gives. Them trading at $60 is a really big deal. If we actually look back just a few weeks ago, Zscaler was a stock that had reported earnings, I believe, last week or the week prior. And they actually had their higher range of guidance much higher than Wall Street expected. And when you took their range average, that was beating expectations for both the upcoming quarter and full year. But there was a little concern because there was a slowdown in sales, and that was for the second quarter in a row. And Zscaler essentially gave back all of their gains that they have had over the last month and a half. Now they have rebounded back very nicely, but that just kind of shows you the overnight, difference where it kind of went from 185 and started trading near 120 and only to come back alive. So that's, I don't expect Palo Alto to come all the way down to $200, but it wouldn't surprise me if all of a sudden they bottomed out somewhere near 240, 260, and that could happen on a beat. And it just won't be at the level of what the markets are priced in. And, again, I just want to make sure everybody understands that stock price isn't based on current valuation, it's based on future valuation. Mm-hmm. And if that future doesn't align with what expectations are, again, markets, they correct their mistakes immediately, and you will see that reflected in the stock price.
Yeah, absolutely. We summarize that often by saying that the market is always 6 months ahead of where we're at here today, and that the prices are reflecting that. I like that, though. 240 here, the 20-day moving average is actually at 239.84. A pullback to 240 right in this area, I would be tempted. To try a long side trade on that for sure, given what Palo Alto has done. All right, really good breakdown there, Charlie. Let's talk about Broadcom here real quick. Broadcom, also similar. It's been extremely strong. We talked about this a lot as it kind of traded sideways and then down towards its 200. But boy, it was like it was waiting for that. It dipped and peaked below the 200. Then it recaptured it and just went gangbusters. I have this thing breaking out now. I have got 488.94 up another 6.3% after being up 3% yesterday. We've got the earnings tomorrow after the market closes. What do you think on Broadcom, ticker AVGO?
Yeah, you are correct. It's quite honestly, they've been one of the more dormant plays. And once they finally broke that 440 level, it's just an immediate breakout extension. We call it the stack, right? Just higher high candles, trading higher in sympathy with the MRVL news. And it's kind of funny, but this Google offering is actually something that could be beneficial for AVGO. There's thoughts that Google is trying to raise some capital. Obviously, partly it's going to Berkshire Hathaway for their investment. Some of it is going to be based on taxes based on on redemptions. And then they're going to apply the rest towards AI and AI development. And I think a lot of it is going to be centered around the production of Google TPUs. And that's where AVGO is going to benefit. And again, if more money is going to go into that build out, that's more money that's going to go into AVGO's pocket. Obviously, this is also being fueled by that Marvell news that's pumping the stock. And it's kind of in the similar fixture where they're going to have to, showcase a pretty strong beat and guidance to continue and follow through on that momentum. We just talked about performance. NVIDIA had really strong numbers. I believe they guided $2-3 billion above expectations. and Nvidia ended up working lower after earnings. I don't necessarily think AVGO is going to crash, but without anything too exciting, AVGO may only make like a $6 to $8 move, and in those instances where they don't make the implied move, even if they open slightly higher, it just becomes a volatility crush play.
Yeah.
And you just see the call buyers, scrambling to salvage whatever premium, and the stock tends to drop early. So, that's something that I would be a little cautious of. I actually think AVGO is in a position to actually make a pretty significant move off of earnings, especially if numbers are really good and they exceed expectations. They just haven't made the move like AMD and others has prior to earnings. So this is just something that maybe Wall Street is starting to anticipate, and that's why it's starting to break out.
If you get a good report, and when I say good, I know that can be subjective just by your own metric. If you look at it, you say, yeah, this is a good report, and the stock trades down, do you have a specific level that you like it at? Like, would you like to see that 440 get tested again? Would you maybe like to come into 430 and test the 20-day moving average?
Yeah, so I guess it depends on how deep the pullback is. If the numbers are really good and it just more surprising that they're down than up, again, it just really depends. If they're trading at 520 because of this breakout, which is possible, right? They're trading at almost 490 right now. They make this really explosive move. There's a big difference between valuation at 460 and a valuation at 520. So, if they're at 520 and they scale down to as low as 440, I think that's an absolute tip to rip.
Okay.
I think that trading at around 480 coming down to 440, that might give me a little bit of pause. The expected move is around $40, so it should pivot. But if, again, the numbers are, more negative than a positive impact, I would look for certainly something deeper, something probably centered around that 425, 420 level where the faster EMAs are and SMAs. But ultimately, again, if there's a reason to be a buyer, not just because it's the name, but because the earnings are solid, seeing that support at 440 would be significant. That's that old theory that floor traders love to use where old highs act as support. I just feel that would be an incredible dip to rip. And it wouldn't surprise me that if they hold 440 and react in a bullish way, that the acceleration to the upside, especially in terms of recovery, could be far, far quicker than people suspect, whether it's, a couple of hours or maybe at the very most a couple of days.
Okay, really, really good stuff. Folks, Charlie Moon is opening his Momentum Stocks trading room for a special open house starting Monday, June 9th. 5 days of expert analysis, real setups, and a real-time signals from Prosper's top momentum trader. Free access by clicking the QR code. You're kind of getting a preview of this right now with Charlie as he breaks down these momentum stocks like a fraction. Charlie, really good. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about that you're trading here, maybe on deck for today or this week?
Yeah, there's going to be, I don't know if people have noticed, but there's been a massive rotation that's taking place. And this rotation is accelerating. The rotation, quite honestly, is with the semi components. It's not even through all of the AI components. It's more centered towards really names like AMD, Intel, maybe Qualcomm. And we've seen this shift go from these names go directly into software. And when software softens up, it kind of shifts right back into these names. So it's something to be aware of. The rotations are going to be fast. The movement is going to be very aggressive. So that means when stocks start having big accelerated moves to the upside, that the pullbacks may be a little bit bigger than you suspect. But if Wall Street's starting to ping pong around and along with the retail traders, it can make for some rough waters or choppy waters if you either enter too late or hold on too long. And this is something that even with the markets, progressively basically making new all-time highs every single day, it doesn't mean that trading conditions are easier. They're starting to get a little bit more difficult. But I've noticed that the market has really adapted to becoming a little bit more shorter term. It's almost as if people don't want to hold positions for more than a day or two. And especially being at all-time highs, they just kind of don't trust the situation. especially without any deal in the Middle East. So,
Yeah.
it just seems like right now everybody's looking for very short term or just intraday type trades only at this moment. So it's just something to be aware of.
Yeah. Now, I am going to ask you just really quickly here. You brought it up. I'm going to ask you to put on your prediction hat for just a brief second here. Given the extension that we're seeing in some of these individual names in the market as a whole, if we see a resolution with the Middle East conflict, do you think that there's more room to the upside?
Oh, tons. I
Okay.
I, I think that the breakout is going to be pretty strong. I think it's going to be very broad, which we haven't seen.
Okay.
I don't think it'll be long lasting, meaning all year long. Eventually, the market's going to have to face, what Fed policy is. But I think the actual news will be met very positively.
Okay. I'll tell you what, that was even more informative than I had hoped he was going to give on that answer. That's phenomenal. One last thing, and I'll get you out of here. I appreciate all of the time here. What are your thoughts here on Intel? This has been a huge winner for our group. Actually, multiple times. It's kind of fit into the AI theme that we're talking about here. One of our chat members here, Kathy, said Intel's had a great pullback. Actually, looks like it's kind of pulling back to a support area here. I really like to see it hold on to 100. You have any thought here on Intel?
100%. I'm with you on that. It has to hold 100. What Intel is actually showing is a bit of a reversal sign. Look on the daily chart. Essentially, it's a slightly downward tilting M formation.
Yep.
We look for these formations like a higher low reversal, which would be a W formation on the lows. Names like Snowflake had really shown the sign right leading into this breakout. But the opposite of a reversal of the uptrend would be an M formation. And so breaking below 101 basically triggers it, which means that I think they could come down as low as 83, somewhere around $80. That's where the stock had gapped up, held those levels from earnings. That's right around the 50 SMA. It's right around the linear regression mean on the linear regression chart. And that's a must buy range for me. But, people don't think it's possible. And let me just say something. Weakness is weakness. When money rotates, so they have to take that money from somewhere. And if they want to take advantage of names like CRM and Adobe, which are coming back from the dead, a lot of people are piling into now. People have talked about, how President Trump owns 5 million worth of shares in now, how Jensen Huang is pumped on now, the integral, the important integration into the hyperscalers and their development in AI. And it makes a lot of sense with how Snow has performed. So, if the money continues to rotate out, we don't want to overthink it. We don't want to fight the tape. I just need to see how Intel performs right around this 101, 102 price. They keep trying to bounce. They keep getting shut down intraday wise. So, for me, I wouldn't feel comfortable until it recovers above 115, 116, and then breaks that kind of lower high peak right around 127. I believe once they break 127, this thing's off to the races to 150.
Okay. All right. That was absolutely great, folks. Charlie Moon opening his Momentum Stocks trading room for a special open house starting Monday, June 9th. Scan that QR code if you're interested. 5 days of expert analysis just like this. Charlie, really appreciate it. Appreciate all of the extra time here today. Really, really good stuff from start to finish here. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll follow up with you next time.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Charlie Moon from T3. Folks, I hope you can appreciate that. You might have to go back and rewind. He was phenomenal there. He gave you multiple trade plans and levels for some of the hottest momentum stocks that we trade here on a daily basis. Just absolutely great. Smash up the like for our guy, Charlie Moon. And Brian, I wanted to fit this in here. I really wanted to fit this in here. I couldn't. Your comment about seeing him on the Schwab network was phenomenal. Thank you for making that. I hope he saw it. Awesome stuff there. Okay, what time is it? We've got 6 minutes. That's perfect because I actually have a little bit of news still left to go. So let's just go ahead and knock that out here real quick. This one is going to be on Andrew left here. So this is a Benzinga exclusive. The Bear Cave founder these are some of these short reports that we often take a look at. The Bear Cave founder is backing Andrew Left, who is facing jail time here, and he hopes the Citron's short seller's conviction is reversed on appeal as disclosure rules remain unclear. Now, I know one of the reasons I'm bringing this up, this is not a sob story. I'm not trying to generate sympathy for anything. We literally have folks in our group that trade some of these short reports. And I just think that anything that's kind of changing in this industry, it's worth it for us to kind of stay on top of. So let's take a quick look at what's going on here. A federal jury's criminal conviction of Citron Research founder Andrew Left has sent shockwaves through Wall Street, sparking intense debate over the future boundaries of activist short selling and independent market research. Left, who is 55, was found guilty of securities fraud on Monday after prosecutors successfully argued he manipulated markets by, quote, tweeting with one hand and trading with the other, end quote. The landmark verdict marks a shift from typical civil settlements to severe criminal penalties, leaving the research community racing to evaluate the fallout. Edwin Dorsey, founder of the prominent bearish investigative newsletter The Bear Cave, warned that legal boundaries governing public market commentary have been deeply muddied by the decision. Quote, "It's unclear what the disclosure requirements will be, and this will have a significant impact on the activist short landscape, in my opinion," end quote. That was Dorsey telling Benzinga in an exclusive statement. The case heavily scrutinized Left's practice of trading against its own public stock recommendations, raising pressing questions for financial commentators about whether they must now provide full real-time disclosures of all active positions to their audiences at all times. Despite the jury convicting Left on the lead securities fraud charge and 12 additional counts tied to specific trades, Dorsey expressed explicit solidarity with the legendary short seller as high-stakes legal battle prepares to move into the higher courts. Quote, "I support Andrew and hope this is reversed on appeal," end quote. Left, who took the usual step of testifying in his own defense during the trial, has remained defiant. Following the verdict, he took to X to highlight the specific trades scrutinized in the case, pointing out he was found guilty for recommending stocks like Tesla, TSLA, Nvidia, and Meta back in 2018. Look at those prices then and now. In July of 2024, Left was claimed to have been manipulating more than 20 stocks. The Department of Justice alleged that he misled investors by posting upbeat commentary on social media to lift share prices and then sell it shortly after. A 25-year market veteran also failed to disclose relationships with hedge funds while presenting himself as an independent analyst. Claiming there were, quote, "no false statements," end quote, Left wrote that, quote, "we will keep fighting for free, honest speech and opportunity," end quote, and warning that the outcome could have a chilling effect on market commentators. He added, quote, "this is not over," end quote. He also faces up to 25 years in federal prison when he is sentenced on August 31st. So a couple of things here. Number one, I also hope that this doesn't really kind of change things. I am a long biased guy, but having people that do investigative short work to kind of provide a counterpoint on different theses here, I think it's extremely important. And I hope that the rules aren't changed or muddied, as mentioned here in the story, enough to kind of curtail that. Even if you take our really small example here, short seller 123 or short seller XYZ comes out with a short report on stock ABC, right? Names and stock don't matter. Stock trades down. We talk about it. We look at it. We think, this doesn't really make sense. I'm going to buy this. Stock trades back up. We take profit on that. There's a bunch of different ways that this information can be used and how it can help us and how it can help us trade. And that's not even mentioning kind of checking yourself on your own thesis and all of that. So I hope that all of that gets resolved here. That's also why I often will tell you when we're trading stocks here, what I have, what I don't have, what I like and what I don't like. These rules are serious. Nobody wants to go to jail. At least nobody I know wants to go to jail. They're serious. They have to be followed. But at the same time, I just hope that the landscape doesn't change that much. Let me put it that way. Okay, one more very, very quick story, and then we got a tweet, and then 13's not even here yet. We're in good shape. All right, next story here is from our friend Jamie Dimon. Jamie Dimon says blockchain will replace financial market infrastructure. So how about that? JP Morgan Chase, ticker JPM, CEO Jamie Dimon says the blockchain technology will eventually replace large parts of the financial system infrastructure, even as he continues to distance himself from the speculative cryptocurrencies. Speaking at the Reagan National Economic Forum on May 29th, Dimon said JP Morgan is already one of the largest users of blockchain technology and expects major changes across payments and settlement systems. He pointed to JPM's Deposit Coin initiative, which already allows money movement around the clock. Quote, I do think it will replace financial market infrastructure, end quote. He also acknowledged that crypto firms correctly identified inefficiencies in the current financial system. Quote, FedWire is 5 days a week and 10 hours a day, end quote. Why not 6 days a week and 20 hours a day? Why not 24/7? While Dimon is not worried about stable coins, he reiterated that crypto firms should face the same regulatory standards as traditional banks. He called for AML compliance, KYC requirements, liquidity rules, and transparency standards and consumer protections. Dimon has long been one of Wall Street's highest profile crypto skeptics, making the comments notable as major banks increasingly move deeper into blockchain infrastructure and tokenized finance. The JP Morgan CEO also acknowledged that crypto native systems exposed weakness in legacy banking rails, particularly around settlement speed and global transfers. He said the bank plans to continue investing aggressively across payments, asset management, and financial infrastructure as competition from fintech and crypto firms intensifies. So Jamie Dimon, big Bitcoin bear, but he likes blockchain. So I guess we've got that going for us. All right, real quick, just want to give you a street tweet. Then we're going to get to 13. Let's do street tweets right now. All right, here it is. We're just going to solidify this. It's Jim Cramer. And for anyone that actually wants the tweet for whatever reason, I'll just leave it at that. We'll go ahead and throw this here in the chat. Come on, Paste. You got to work there. There we go. The At the Money offering by Google will really trip up the common, and it was not a good idea. I know that it will be easier than a big slug, but it will turn the stock into a real slog if not careful. As mentioned earlier, Buffalo by Bicycle refutes this claim. All right, folks, let's get back to Benzinga Pro. And also, let's start our pre-market pulse. Baby, it's mover time. $13, how you doing? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? How's everybody in the chat?
Well, we're doing really good here. Chat's popping. Chat's got a ton of stuff that they're interested in. They've been great thus far this morning. And we've had a pretty good start to the day here. So I'll be honest with you. Aside from Blue Jay here, I haven't even looked at the movers. So do we have good movers here? Yes, no, maybe so.
I mean, there's some names that showed up that you'll recognize. Looks like you have the Marvell directional ETFs.
Yes, sir.
Getting a lift here. Some names that we've traded before: GXAI, LASE. Blue Jay is on the top of the list. I looked at that one again. So yeah, there's some recognizable names here. But we can go through all of them, or we can just go through some of them.
Okay. Well, we're going to start with BJDX because that one's on your list, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. Tammy says y'all are frozen. That can't be.
No, it's hot as hell out here. I'm fine.
That's a quick answer. Tammy, maybe try and refresh. I don't see it on my end. Producer has not alerted me to anything going wrong, so I think we're in the clear. That might be a your side issue. Anyway, Blue Jay Diagnostics here. We did get a PR here this morning. Blue Jay Diagnostics and Argonaut Manufacturing Services announced a strategic partnership. This is to support the advancements of Blue Jay's Symphony platform. So stock is trading higher by 190% here. It closed at 217 yesterday. It is up 4 points here today. Quick peek at the short interest on this name. Negligible. No short squeeze for us to worry about. 0.7% of the float shorted. 1 day to cover. That's nothing. On average, the stock is pretty boring. Only trades 75,000 shares. It's done 33 million today. I think the big thing here, 13, is that we've got a micro float under 1 million shares. I show the float here, 971,000. What say you?
Yeah, so that Symphony system is basically a sepsis triage and monitoring system for disease progression. And this partnership with Argonaut is going to help expand that system's capability. Help with manufacturing, that kind of thing. The company doesn't have very much revenue at all, very little cash, like maybe 1 to 2 quarters. So wouldn't surprise me to see that capital raise would be coming here. The company did have some recent insider buying in the middle of last month. So people believe, in this company believe in what they're working towards here. As far as the chart goes, I have 450 and the 65 EMA as support. And to the upside, we are trying to break through resistance right now, the VWAP. So if we take that out, I think we see 650, which is going to be the next area of resistance. But it looks, I think if we get over VWAP, we should spend some more time trading to the upside. It's just that right now we're facing a little bit of resistance from that particular indicator.
Yeah, absolutely. We are 13. I don't have any fair value gap of note from my indicator here. So to me, it sure looks like the VWAP battle that you just outlined there. That seems to be the next hurdle to get over. We'll see if we end up doing that. I have some appreciation for this joke, so I'm going to repeat it. If it doesn't land, I apologize. It's just me being a nerd. Jay says, I prefer the Red Sox, SOXL, I think you mean SOXS, over the Blue Jays, which is BJDX. Little stock ticker sports Venn diagram joke in there. Jay, I'm here for it. We'll see if anyone else like that. All right, 13, what else did you have on your list? Did you have the DXST Decent Holdings on your list?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go ahead and start with that. This is, right off the bat, this is a China name. Keep that in mind. Closed at $1.60 yesterday. 2 impulse moves that took us to 5 in the after hours. Today, we popped out of the open, which is customary, I want to say, for some of these China movers in the pre-market. But since that initial pop, we've been trending down. 2 pops in there that attempted to take us over VWAP. We couldn't hold either one of them. So we'll see if this maybe changes here later today. Gosh, I don't have any news in here.
That's the news right there.
It surged. According to the SEC, following the transaction, which closed.
Because you have a Form 6 that came out earlier in the afternoon. And then later that night, yesterday night, we had that. Why is it moving? It's because this
Dingzing Sung purchased 400,000 Class B ordinary shares at $2. So he spent $800,000. There we go. Okay, I just needed to keep reading. 13.
Yeah, he basically bought more shares. He's got over 90% of a voting stake now. So the company needed cash, so that helps it along, but it's still going to need some more.
Okay, real quick here. I'll just get through this. Nothing on the short interest. Negligible. No short squeeze. No worries there. On average, stock trades 1.7 million shares, done 10.5 here today. Float is 22.42.
Yeah. So the company does have revenue, so that's good to see, but it doesn't have very much cash. It's it goes back and forth between profitability. It's like it teeters. I think it's going to need to raise cash because that 800,000, that's nice. That'll get it along for a bit of time. I don't know that they're going to raise again today. It would seem a little unlikely given the recent development, but at some point in the future, I think they will. As far as the chart goes, they have 22 million shares in the float, so a little bit heavier on the float side, but still very small. As far as the chart goes, I have VWAP as resistance and 280 as support. When you look at the chart, 5-minute chart intraday, you can see that VWAP has just been the bane of upside this morning.
Absolutely.
So every time they try to the price tries to move over it, it gets smacked right down. As soon as we start closing over that, I think that's going to bode well for continued upside. That's one of the things that we're going to have to watch for. Probably won't get it until after the open.
All right, I am eyeballing a trend line here. Might give us a target. It does chop that initial pre-market open wick down, but I'm okay with that. We'll see how it goes. Okay, what else do you have on your list? What's next?
I saw that somebody had mentioned that they did a reverse split. That wasn't recently. That was back in March. It was a 1 for 25.
March 16. Yep.
Yeah. So
yes,
they did do that. That's the reason why they have 22 million shares. I don't think that's impacting the movement today.
Okay. Well, you said you had GXAI. What about VSA?
Well, the ones that I looked at were BJDX, DXST, and VSA.
And VSA. Okay, let's do VSA next year. This is Vision Sys AI. This closed at what? Yeah, 428. Another China name. Did trade higher in the after hours, higher again here today. Similar to the last stock that we just looked at in terms of it cannot get above its VWAP yet, but it has not continued to break down. It's actually traded sideways. And so far in the pre-market here, it's done a fairly good job holding $7. So we'll see if this can actually get rolling here on this. Let me see if there was any news on this driving at 82%. I don't see anything on this. No news. Yep.
It's interesting, though, because I could have sworn we just recently started talking or seeing or trading something that's very similar. But this company is involved in the brain-computer interface, kind of like Neuralink.
Yeah, I was just going to say, what was that stock that we did? My first thing I thought of was Neuralink, but you're right. We did just trade something like this. I can't place it.
Yeah, so I'm kind of wondering if there's a theme here that we're just not, kind of seeing just yet, where the brain-computer interface, that theme, is starting to, gain some traction. We're actually starting to see people be able to use that interface to maybe walk again, see again, hear again. And if that's the case, I mean, then there's somebody that's trying to push us into the the Ghost in the Shell timeline. But I think that this is kind of an interesting thing. We don't, like I said, we don't have any news, so I don't know what's driving here today. But that's what this company is involved with, is the brain-computer interface. And I think I'm going to have to do some more work on that theme and see if there's anything in there. Now, what's interesting about this company is that I've looked at their income statement. And it's kind of weird. Like they'll have in one half of the year, they'll make a ton of money. And then in the next half of the year, they'll do nothing. So don't know what that's about, but that was particularly strange to me. They do have cash. So I don't think that they're going to need to raise any money here. It's based on the way things look. I don't think they need to do that. As far as the chart goes, I would say, I think that the VWAP and 850, the VWAP that you pointed out, that's going to be resistance. If we continue to fall from here, and we lose the 65 EMA, which has been providing some support recently, I think the 625 and the 200 EMA are going to be the next areas of support beneath that.
Okay. This thing, 24% of the float shorted, but only 1 day to cover. So there is some short interest here. It is high, but it's only high in the percent of float shorted. So we'll see here. VSA. Okay. Excuse me. Next here, I've got GXAI. This is Gaxos AI. Now, I know that you didn't prepare for this one, but we'll still run it down. It's got a catalyst here. It's making a huge move, up 66%. Gaxos AI shares are trading higher after the company announced that Amazon Web Services committed additional funding to accelerate the company's AI-powered sales coaching platform. So that's actually a pretty good catalyst. We've seen a lot of these AI shopping assistants, AI coaching platforms for sales. We'll see if this ends up hitting here. Nonetheless, it's up 65%. We did trade above 220, found some resistance up there at 232. Quick peek at the short interest on this name. It's negligible, 1.68% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. On average, it trades just shy of 5 million shares. Today, it's traded just north of 50 million shares, and the float is 9.89 million. So absolutely low float, although not micro float. 13, do you have anything here on GXAI? I do have, really quickly, I do have a large fair value gap here. I don't feel great about it because it basically starts right here at the bottom and goes up to this bottom wick here. So we'll see if there's anything else in here that might provide some pretty good entry, but this is the FVG area that I'm looking at. What do you have?
Yeah, I mean, I like that that area. If we do end up going down to that 180 area, I think that's looking like support. There's a bit of a trend. I mean, if you could do a trend line on the underside and on the top side, that gives you a bit of a symmetrical triangle at the end of this this big upward move we had. So we have a bit of a bull pennant here. And if this resolves, we're going to see this go beyond 232. Looking at the company's fundamentals, it seems like they've got some cash, whether it be in just in the bank or in short-term investments. The company does also have a little bit of revenue, but they're not profitable yet. So at some point, they're going to have to raise cash again. I don't think it's going to happen soon. But news like this, it kind of makes me want to go and look into what their current relationship is with Amazon, and what their they have a current contract with them, what's that about? Because I think that would help inform my decision along with the movement we're seeing here today and the news that we got today. But just on the technical front here, I think if we get above that VWAP, we'll see a move beyond that 232.
So yes, the commitment, the contract that you were wondering about, it looks like it's more like a development and funding commitment rather than a long-term commercial contract. So
like short-term contract.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the GXAI announced that Amazon Web Services committed to fund preliminary developments of its AI sales coaching platform. That's it. The relationship appears real and current, but limited in its scope. So it's perhaps the very early innings of this relationship. But you know what, 13, that actually, if we see more of this, I would say with each successive Amazon related PR we get on GXAI, the better and better it's going to look, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that would just be that would prove its legitimacy as they continue to expand their relationship.
And this seems like it's a little bit more of an interface thing that they're trying to
right.
Yeah. So there might be more of a future here, but I think that, to your point, it's just not expanded on enough.
Yep, and it's early. It's very, very clearly still early. Okay, next here we have LASE. That's LASE, Laser Photonics. First of all, this is one that we've traded a whole bunch. We've talked about the optical photonics angle a whole lot with some of the big winners there. Laser Photonics shares are trading higher after the company announced the Department of War selected the Laser Shield anti-drone system under the MEIA Vulcan Call for Solutions.
What's the Vulcan Call for Solutions? That sounds like something straight out of...
Bro.
Yeah, right?
Okay. All jokes aside, 13, all jokes aside, quick peek at the short interest on this. 5.35% of the float is shorted, 1.14 days to cover. On average, the stock trades 1.7 million shares. Today, it's traded just shy of 20 million, and that's versus a float of 33 and change. What do you think here on LASE, L-A-S-E? And do I have enough time to step away very quick and be right back?
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
So this is kind of interesting because we just had news last week about how this company received an order from Johnson & Johnson for a laser drilling system with integrated vision. So basically a medical device. Now we have news about them being used for anti-drone warfare. So this company has got all kinds of lasers. Now, as far as how we're going to trade this, let me look at the chart here. I think that VWAP is something we're going to have to watch for. That's going to be our support at this stage. And if we lose that, then I think we just let it cool off, let it do its thing. We'll find some support. It may be down closer to 115, or maybe even under $1 or closer to $1 if those levels don't hold support. It's looking like I think when it comes to trading this one, I would wait for the open. We've got 10 minutes, 11 minutes left. That's plenty of time to wait and see if this is going to hold above VWAP or not. But it's starting to look like it's getting a little weak into the open. We do have these chopstick highs here that went up to 147, and we almost had an exact matching candle to the downside. So I think that's going to put a little bit of upside pressure on the price for now. So I think when it comes to this one, let's just see what we get out of the open. If we hold the view up, through the pre-market, then that might be, where we open and go higher. But I think for now, I would want to wait and see what the open gives us, because we may lose VWAP here in the pre-market.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. LASE, we'll see how that goes. Now, I did notice that several of you mentioned Ondas. Did they have news? I think, Zach, you said they had a Navy contract. Here's what it looks like in the pre-market. Bob asking 14 today. Maybe it looked like we were going to test 14 yesterday before we stopped at 1390. Did trim a little bit on that. That's been great here. Oh, contract news here this morning. Ondas subsidiary Worldview secures a $4.8 million Navy contract for stratospheric counter narcotics and IUU fishing ISR missions. Let me actually go. Let me have AI take a look at this, and I can try and get you some more stuff on it. But this is actually good. Now, a couple of things here. First of all, glad to see that it's up. Let's temper things a little bit, because it's a $4.8 million dollar contract. So this is not a huge one. They've done a really good job growing. So anything is accretive and good, but it's not like mind-blowingly big. Let's see if there's anything else in the PR that I might be missing. I'll do that here in a sec. Short interest on Ondas. Ooh, it's actually come down a little bit, but this is still high on the percent to float, shorted at 30+%. Only 2 days to cover on this. 13, do you have any? I know we talk about Ondas all the time, so maybe there's nothing here for the news. Although if you have an opinion on the news, I'd welcome it. I was more going to ask you, do you have anything here on the Ondas chart?
The big thing for me that I think I mentioned it several weeks ago, we need to see the weekly chart, or weekly candle recapture and close above 12. And if we get that, I think we'll see 15. So I think we're going to see 15 at some point.
Okay, awesome. Let me go to that. Sorry, I tried to do it fast, but you were way too quick there. Here's my big Geron chart. I'll say this, just kind of looking at the chart, this is really good action. We held to 200. We held the downward sloping trend line. We got news. We had quality earnings. The stock turned around, started to move through some of these moving averages, and an upward sloping trend line. 13, you said a close above 12 sends us to 15?
Yeah, so if you draw a horizontal line at 12 and go to a weekly chart, it'll become crystal clear about what I was looking at and what I'm talking about.
I could have sworn that I had a horizontal line there at 12, but nonetheless, we'll go ahead and add that now.
Yeah, and then if you just look at, zoom in so you can see all the price action since the beginning of the year.
Oh, yeah.
You see that it was a support level. We lost it. It spent pretty much the entirety of 2026 trying to get back up above 12 and getting rejected there. And so in my view, I was like, okay, well, obviously we're trying to get above 12. And once we do, we're off. And I think that's what we got that. We finally got that close above 12 last week. We're continuing to climb higher this week. 14 certainly looking like a resistance area as it was back in January. But I think that I don't know that we're going to necessarily close over 15, but I think we're going to hit that price again with a print. So I think that's where we're headed next. We should see a break over 14 that takes to 15. Whether or not we close, can't say, but I think we see 15 again.
Okay, that'd be great. I'd be looking to maybe trim a little bit more if we do see that. Couple more additions here on the contract itself. What do we have? 7 minutes. We got plenty of time. It is 4.8 million over 3 months, which means it has an annualized run rate or an ARR of 19 million if the contract does get extended. So that would be something else to watch here, just to see if this contract gets extended. It is indeed positive, but as I already mentioned, it is modest in its size compared here to Ondas. It's not a long-term backlog lock-in. It's closer to a paid operational pilot or bridge contract. So we'll see if anything else is generated from this one. But given the fact that this is an emerging category and there hasn't been full budgets put down for UAVs and drones and stuff like this, all of this stuff is kind of in flux. We could see some more positive from this. Nonetheless, given the way it's been trading recently, some more positive news on top of that. 13, giddy up. Take me to 15. I don't know what else to say.
Jay, no, I didn't get any OSS, but I am starting to build a position in GDYN. I like the way that chart looks. I think this.
Which one? Sorry, I'll bring it up here. I missed it.
GDYN. This is one he was talking about yesterday. It had some good moves yesterday. We're up to the 50-week SMA, trying to clear that. I mean, to me, this looks like we're on the recovery here. So I thought this one was interesting. I liked what the company had to say about itself. So I'm gonna try this one, and I started building a little position in it. I would like to see recapture of 8, but I'm just going to be patient with this one and started a position. So we'll see how this one goes.
Okay. All right. What else do we want to take a look at? This is awesome, 13. We crushed everything here today, and we have 5 minutes left. We're not like trying to say a whole bunch of stuff before the bell rings. We're actually quite caught up here. So, and then your GDYN 13. Jay is letting us know they bought a bunch of July 10 calls yesterday. Nice. So you actually had some bullish call sweeps backing that up as well. Ashant wants to take a look at Clove. Can we call this an oldie but goodie? Maybe we. Yeah. It's actually, you know what? I am going to call it that. It's doing a good job holding up here. I remember it was the end of the year last year. Clove started to make this big move, and it brought a bunch of the internet trolls to our show briefly. And then when it started to sell off, those folks disappeared. It's coming back on now. It looks like 4 is going to be one of the next levels here. What's interesting is that we've actually broken out of these high volume nodes that we have on our volume profile. This looks like an attempt to break out here. It looks like it's kind of back testing this 390 area. 13, I'd be curious to see what you see on this on the daily chart. This looks like a former resistance and support area that is coming back into play here. So I think if we can hold 392, we might actually be all right for maybe some more, or test of the 484. Is that what it actually is? 487, excuse me, 487.
So I think the thing I'm looking at here, if you go to a monthly chart, and if you take that low from March of 2021, oh, you don't have that. You don't.
Well, let me see. Let me try refreshing here. Let me see what the refresh does in terms of giving me some of my historical candles here. Oh, and by the way, I've been talking to some of the team here. I think this is going to be a thing of the past, 13.
Okay.
But I think. Okay, what do we got here, buddy?
All right. So that low from March of 2021, we'll start the trend line there. Okay. Draw it through the high of January 2025 and keep it going.
High of January 2025, which is right here. Got it. Bang. Yeah. Now I can go back to daily, right?
Yeah. Well, if you want to extend that a little bit more, so you can or do that. That's fine too.
I'm sorry for throwing you off here, buddy. I'm just trying to connect this.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to make it so that you could like see it, all the candles and how they're they're reacting with this trend line now that we've drawn it. I think that this trend line is going to be a breakout spot. That's what I'm getting at.
Here you go. We are almost there. Remember Chamath? This is one of his stocks, Clove. Ashant saying they want a major case against CMS. I don't have any insight on that, Ashant. I have to look into that a little bit more. Ondas, big move. Okay, it popped up there at 1380. Let's get our 14 test for Bob here today. Let's make someone happy right in the morning.
Yeah, Big B's HP is basically Dell 2.0 here.
Dude, you're getting a Dell. Changing to dude, you're getting an HP. You're getting a Hewlett Packard. What's the trade on this today?
Well, I mean, if you want to jump in front of a moving train.
Nope. As a matter of fact, I don't want to do that.
Well, I mean, it's probably going to do what Dell did the day after it reported and had this huge run up. As I recall, they were a little bit weak initially, and then they continued higher. But I can't remember if that was the case or not.
Okay, we're less than a minute here. Did you want to cover Dollar General at all?
Dollar General, they had earnings today. There was a run up into that earnings last night. They had mixed earnings, but they provided higher guidance. I still think that this is. I mean, how much time do we have? Okay, I still think that they're going to continue to perform well. I think the consumer is still dealing with a lot of economic pressures, particularly with the high fuel prices leading to the to high price of everything. Need to see a recapture of that 50-day SMA. I think if we get that, we're going to be in a much better position to go higher. We have the 200-day SMA at 121.07, and that's going to be the next thing to fall. Here we go.
That was good timing. I gotta be honest. That was some good timing right there. Okay, we are off. We are off. Broadcom calls right out of the open there. 100 of them. Trader spent 400K. I'll let you know if I see any Palo Alto options in either direction.
So Blue Jay is recapturing its VWAP. DXST and VSA have not done the same yet. But it looks like Blue Jay's trying to curl up here. Maybe this initially goes to about 730 if we can close above this VWAP. HKIT volume is up now. Okay, so that thing's back.
All right, BJDX is trying to move away from VWAP here, by the way.
Mm-hmm. There's a seller in the way at 650 trying to take him out. There he goes. Next one is at 659. There he goes. Oh, that's funny. So yeah, I think the 725, 730 area is probably going to be where we start to run into a little bit of resistance if we manage to close over this VWAP here.
And actually, that was a pullback towards the VWAP 13. Never printed it and just started taking off again there. See on BJDX. I'm going to keep flipping around here a little bit. SPY straight up out of the gate here, right out of the open. That is trading higher. S&P futures also above the VWAP, going for its daily pivot. HPE, Brian, you had said HPE 70 here today. This is curling up. We'll see where that ends up stopping. Marvell, another one of our big movers here. Marvell actually pulled back in the pre-market, is testing its VWAP at the moment. See what Marvell does above its VWAP here. Ondas, high print of the day, 1416.
Looks like DXST is trying to push through its 65 EMA. VSA almost lost the 65 EMA, but it's getting lifted back above it. BJDX is still trying to close above its VWAP.
Lion here saying, Ryan, let's take now to 140. Oh, yeah, let's just you and me do that. Sure. I mean, I would love to. Here's what now looks like. You think this has a reasonable chance of hitting 140 here today?
Who mentioned Bloom Energy? Alex saying BE is climbing back up. Certainly it is climbing its way over the 20-day SMA after spending a couple days beneath it, Friday and Monday. We are getting some more movement here out of BJDX. Looks like DXST is finally starting to get going here. Not so much VSA yet.
BGDX, indeed. This is moving. 650 now, BJDX. What else do we have off the list here?
LASE. This went lower. It lost the VWAP, so one of the things that we were launching for, we didn't want to have happen. It ended up doing that. So still trying to recapture VWAP, but this MACD indicates that it still could end up heading lower here. If it does, there's going to be a couple of areas to watch for support. I think that 108 to 110 area is going to be the earliest one. If we can't get back above VWAP, and if we lose that, the 65 EMA is down at 102, and I think that could be a better area of support.
Okay. Kathy here mentioning CRDO red to green. Look at that. Look at CRDO. Look at that move. Not in that. Good stuff there, Kath. And then Christoph mentioning Netflix LMAO. Netflix down 1.6%. Looks like that pulled right out of the open. 13. I'll tell you what, the Netflix call from a while ago, that looks like that is going.
Yeah, it's not I don't like the reason for why, but it's something that I've, been talking about a lot. They just don't have the content.
Yeah.
And they really needed that Warner Brothers deal. They really did. So now I think that they're just, kind of, I know it's not apparent, but I think they're in a little bit of a panic mode. We've got nothing to show our customers, but let's raise the price on them so we can make that stuff for them. I don't know. I think this goes lower.
Yeah, it doesn't seem great. That's for sure. Does not seem great. BJDX, this is continuing 680 now. Did we have a target on this?
Let's see here. Because I had resistance at VWAP, so I think that we cleared that, right? Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'd say let's shoot for 850, that pre-market high. That'd be my target.
Okay, good stuff there. I see a lot of orders at 14 for Ondas, huge resistance. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It's actually been on a pretty good move. That thing was like $8 not long ago, so I'm not surprised to see resistance up here at 14. Lion said he went long Marvell, and now let's check in on those here real quick.
DXS.
Sorry, real quick. Marvell, this actually did go above its VWAP. Good stuff there. How's now doing? That was selling off when we took a look at it. That popped and dropped. Okay, but this has held the pre-market low. Sorry, 13, what do you got?
DXST is trying to push through 335. There's a large seller in the way, and this is the resistance that it was facing earlier in the pre-market because it was a whole consolidation area and support level prior to losing it. We lost it at 720 this morning. You can see that it was getting support from that particular 335 level, and then we lost it at 720. Haven't been able to recapture it, and we're trying to hammer those sellers right now and try to recapture that level. So I think this is that 335, very important level to watch for a recapture. I think it would bode well for upside if we recapture it.
Okay. Marvell at the top of the list of the scanner. I have it sorted by volume traded. So lots of volume in Marvell's move here. This is above the VWAP by 3 points now. Alex saying Marvell is on a rocket 267 now. And indeed, it looks like we printed 267. Does anyone think we see 280 here? Lion, I got to imagine you think we see 280 if you're long this.
What was Eric's mentioning? Because I just saw that Jay Rice was saying, Eric, I think this play will catch up to Nokia and BlackBerry. I just didn't see what Eric had said. Where is BlackBerry today anyway? Because that thing, I'm waiting for that thing to hit 10. Did it hit 10 yet? Nope.
D. Gordon says, I think Netflix is a buy here. Okay. Marvell, major resistance at 270. So we'll see what Marvell does when it reaches 270. I haven't noticed a whole lot of options. I haven't noticed a whole lot of options on Marvell. There's some NVIDIA calls. IWM, Bank Strong, look at GS. Also, I'm looking at KRE. We have a green day today. It looks like we're trying to engulf yesterday's candle. You look at the XLF, because that's one sector that I've been keeping an eye on for recovery here. And it has a little bit of a bull flag going, but we need to get back above $52 and the 200-day SMA. But it's looking like it's getting some support from that 50-day SMA. Chat mentioning CODX on a possible short squeeze upside move. This is halted at 806. That's CODX, CODX. See what our short metrics are on this. 5.49% of the float shorted on this. So there's something there, but not a whole lot. Days to cover still 1. So maybe intraday. This is up 30% here today.
This may, you said this was in a halt?
Yeah, it looks like it to me. Let's see if it.
Yes, it is.
It's, yep. Signals confirms. Absolutely.
Okay. So there's a gap that it went into an upside halt to try and fill. If you're going by the wick from Friday, then that gap fills at 810. But if you're going by the real body, then it's going to go up to 853 and fill that gap. Now, what happens afterwards? Can't really say. Maybe we continue higher to 10 or 12. Looks like there's no closes above 12, so there's certainly some strong resistance. But I think that you could see this at least climb up to 850 in order to completely fill that gap there.
Okay. And Kathy here saying Schwab borrowed my shares yesterday. Okay.
Quantum day, IBM has fully recovered into the green zone. Certainly, inflection is hit a high of 1940 this morning. Let's look at some of the other names. Quantum computing is up 0.5%. That cubic D wave is up almost 4.5%. Looks like it is a bit of a quantum day. Rigetti up 3.6%. What's Honeywell doing? That's up 1.2.
Do you think Honeywell is kind of like an under the radar quantum play just because it's not like quantum blasted all over it like Rigetti and inflection and all of that? I mean, I know for us, especially for you doing research, but
it could be. I don't think people really have Quantinuum on their radar right now.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. I think you're right about that.
So I totally could see that, but I don't think I think that it's an opportunity if you get Honeywell goes down on weakness. I mean, I was talking about this thing when it was like in the 180s, so that I think was the time to get it. I don't know about an opportunity at this stage. Let me look at the chart here. I think I'd probably, if I was going to look for a chance to go long on this, I'd probably wait for a little bit of weakness. It's been on a good run since the beginning of May. So
here's Marvell. Marvell cracking that 270 here. G-Man saying if Marvell passes 270, it's a candidate for 300. Lion had a 280 target on it. We are breaking 270 as we speak. Got it on screen here.
I don't have any idea where Marvell is going to go. Maybe 280, maybe 300. Maybe it's 2 times higher from here. Money coming out of Palantir. Let's look at Palantir. Look at that.
We can do that. PLTR. Let's do it.
Oh, wow. That's a big drop out of there. So certainly, as we were talking about yesterday, that 200-day SMA, the 160 area, still big resistance. So if we continue this weakness, I think that we're going to come down and use 142 as support. That's about where the 50-day SMA is. That's also a level I've had out here for a while. 142, I think, is your support on this move down. Retro, you absolutely slayed it with UPS. You got not only did you get a great price on the stock, but that is some historically low dividend yield. I'm sorry, not low, historically high dividend yield. DX, okay, there it is. There it is. It did it. DXST. It did it.
Okay.
There's the China pump. There it is. So it got above VWAP. We're clearing multiple levels. 479 is the high from the pre-market. That's probably where it's going to head to after this halt. The Codex should be on halting soon, I believe.
CODX, we'll examine that when we have the halt. Quick checking in the market here. NASDAQ is trying to bounce. The Dow is ripping, and the SPY kind of still figuring out what it's trying to do here. I'm going back to my. Sorry.
I was going to say LASE. That's on the return back up here.
Marvell 270. I'll tell you what, 270's cracked. 280 and 300 are our next targets on Marvell. Let me go to LASE 13. Here you go. Oh, got to click on it, Rhino. Got to click on it. Okay, so that is bouncing back and recapturing the VWAP.
Blue Jay still struggling with its VWAP. We've got one close above it this morning on the 5-minute chart and nothing since then.
Sergeant Sexy saying, sold the pop. Have a good day, y'all.
All right.
Sergeant Sexy having an early day there. Let me refresh this and get this annoying pop-up off my screen. Sorry, 13.
That's how you have a good day. Oh, DXST open. We popped up to, didn't go to the 479. We did pop a little bit higher to 438. Trying to hold this level and push higher. Interesting that this halted and unhalted before Codex did anything. Okay, now there's real selling starting to kick in here, it looks like. Running into some of these highs from the pre-market and DXST. If this name kind of behaves like some of the other China names before, we'll probably see a lot of volatility back and forth, but there could be some higher prints in the future.
Oh, yeah.
And in the future, I mean, today. All right, well, it looks like Conflection still trying to push beyond 1940. Great call out on Cooler this morning. I saw some folks mentioning that. That went from an open of about 455. It's now trying to push beyond the high it printed 5 minutes ago of 531. That's looking good. Looks like Blue Jay going to try and make another attempt to go up for VWAP here. It's looks like it's getting support from the 9 and 15 EMAs. Just need to see some volume expansion to take it up to the VWAP. Maybe enough of the volume expansion we get through that. Codex is open and higher now.
Here's Codex.
Yep, that went up to 912.
Oh, yeah. Weren't you guys calling for 10 on this?
I think that would make sense. That was so in the after hours we had this this move that bumped it up. Or I'm sorry, that was pre-market. This pre-market move after we opened that took it up to 1020, about 1025, and then we ended up losing 1020. Sorry, 1020, and then we ended up losing it, cut right in half. Now we're trying to recover. That's crazy that got cut right in half. 1020 was the high. About an hour later, it gets cut in half, and it drops down to 11. I'm sorry, 511. Crazy. Did GXAI take a nap? It looks like, to me, it's probably not going to do a whole lot in the morning. Maybe it comes back later. Right now, I'm looking at this needing to recapture the VWAP. If it doesn't do that, it's going to the 65 EMA, which is at 156.
Yeah, this looks like nap status to me. Bitcoin, by the way, continuing to get hit. This is actually just a slow bleed now. 68,870 your low on the Bitcoin futures ticker.
VUSIX also is getting mentioned here. That's up a good amount. This opened at 114. It's now trading at, I'm sorry, not 114, 414, trading up to 437. I'm sorry, 440. I'm sorry, I'm getting my numbers all mixed up here. 443, still climbing, 444 now. Blue Jay making that attempt to get over VWAP. It's trying again. DXST after hitting 440, that came back down, got support from VWAP. Not sure it's going to hold. VSA just really hasn't done a whole lot this morning.
That's VSA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here.
Inflection 1951. I think we could possibly see 20 today.
Here's FLNC, Lion. So here's your FLNC. Look at this. This is working so far. This right at the highs. Now, you said this might be the next bloom. So you're looking for a multiple X move higher, right? Am I correct in that?
All right. BJDX climbing above VWAP. Got a seller in the way at 670. It's got to take out. We get some volume expansion. We could make some new session highs.
NVIDIA trying to take 230. You were looking at BJDX, weren't you?
Yep. Oh, still getting pushed back down to VWAP. This thing is, I feel like just the right amount of volume expansion, we're going to get this breakout, but It always seems like some seller comes in and says, no, no, no. Like it gets them tumbled, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know. Oh, I know about that.
Codex filling the gap that it created out of the halt to the downside. 912 was the high. Now it's coming down to VWAP. Looks like GDYN went down to 738. That's turning around. LASE trying to push into new session highs. This was looking pretty weak here. We lost the VWAP. We did manage to recapture it about 10, 15 minutes ago. So this might be able to get going. Maybe we even see this recover and go back up to the high of the pre-market. But going to need a little bit more volume than this.
Here's your INFQ. I just took a look at this 13. I think we're going to test 20 here today. That's what you were just saying, actually.
I think that could be a possibility there.
Lion, so you're looking to take a little bit of profit here. You got it under 20. Okay, well, definitely let us know on that. We don't want you to be selling into people buying. So the market went right towards, what was this? Let me see if I can get this number here for you. Sorry, 657.75 and stopped there. G-Man, what's the intraday resistance today?
I think we might, looks like BJDX still trying to hit that 670 seller. We're above VWAP for the moment.
This looks like it's getting ready to go.
It really does, but the volume's just not there. And if we get that expansion, we'll see it. Now it's starting to get hammered because it's just no volume.
Well, let's be honest, 13. It's because we started talking about it. I mean, come on. Okay. Folks, just a reminder, I said this at the outset. No Anne-Marie today. We are looking to have her back on Friday.
I hope everything's all right.
Sorry, Ryan, was distracted. No apologies necessary. No apologies needed. Market is trying to push higher here. The SPY anyway. Breath's not great. SPY, Russell, Nice breath, all red. Dow and Q's holding positive, but Q's barely holding positive.
DXST, that one, it went down to underneath VWAP. Now it's climbing back over VWAP and $4. Could see some resistance at 405, where that wick from that last high up green candle was. But if we move through there, we might be able to take out this 440. We're moving now. There's a selling away at 430 right at this moment, but.
And NVDA, this actually punched through 230. I've been seeing call buying on the scanner since we opened here today on NVIDIA. This has been straight up pretty much. Well, maybe a little bit of a curl there right post the open, but this now above 230 NVDA.
Diz is about to hit yesterday's low of day. Probably not getting good PR from their Mandalorian and Grogu fall of grace. There was a question here. FBRX, Alex is asking, buy at this price or avoid? FBRX.
We can't tell you what to do, Alex.
Yeah, but I'll look at it and tell you what I think. I mean, it doesn't look like it's done selling to me. I think that, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think why he's asking, and again, I'm just speculating, so I could very easily be wrong. It looks like this is now at a support area that was also previously resistance. So I think I see why he's asking about it. But to me, the price action looks like it might want to push lower.
Yeah, I think so too. So a couple of things on longer time frames. We're struggling still to get back above the 50-week SMA after losing the 200-week SMA on a monthly chart. We've lost the 50-month, and it looks like we're going to head down towards the 20-month, down around 1752. I'm going to go back to a daily, and with those in mind, I'm seeing that lower prices like that, like 18 and 16, kind of stand out on a daily. So I'm thinking that there's going to be some lower prints. I just can't say exactly what the price is going to be, but I think it's going to be between somewhere in the range of 16 to 18. And so it's not too much lower, but it's still going lower, I think.
Looks like that to me. All right, let's check. Let's check in here on Google.
Yes, DXST has halted again. New session highs, 470.
Google here, looks like this is trying to bounce. This has been weak since the offering. It plunged out of the open here, but it looks like it's trying to bounce. NVIDIA still seeing more call sweeps come across here. Just incredible.
Ed Edwards would like to look at Hood. Is this still climbing? Because this is going to be one of the companies that's facilitating the
Trump accounts.
Of the Trump accounts. Yep.
Yep.
This and BNY, formerly BK.
Here's Lobo. Someone mentioned this. This is Jay Rice's favorite stock. It's not actually, but he brings up Rebecca Lobo every time this comes up.
Quite a bit of weakness here across the board in a lot of names. I mean, some of these smaller names that are in tech, they're doing pretty well, but overall weakness it seems. Here's one from I think this was either yesterday or the day before or Friday. GNTA. This is up 16%. This has been having a good morning.
Which one? Sorry.
GNTA.
GNTA.
All right. So we're still waiting for, let's see what we're waiting for here. Doesn't look like there's anything that's really going yet, and we still have DXST halted. Maybe VSA is finding some support at 651, and that's trying to turn around, but things are starting to look, that have run, are starting to look a little weak.
You're absolutely right on that. And in fact, the SPY, which was trying to go higher here, actually looks like it might be trying to roll over a little bit. So we'll see on that. What were some of the other stocks that we were? Lion, you were looking at Now. What's Now doing? Oh, yikes. Oh, look out. Lion, if Now breaks the pre-market low, what's the plan there? It is struggling to hold 127 as we speak here. Speaking of weakness, 13 Now showing some here.
That's a pretty good mention.
Which one?
Libertas waiting for jobs data. So we are getting jolts today, I believe. The BLS jobs data comes out on Friday. BGDX still struggling with that VWAP.
Lion, you're saying on Now it's just profit taking. I'm going to add. Okay.
Thoughts on GUR? Gorilla Technologies. Oh, that's had a nice couple of weeks here recently.
Tyler's saying, is 13 even hearing you? I mean, I think so.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't. Why would you say that, Tyler? What did we not cover, or what did I miss? I guess is how I should approach that. What did I miss?
Looks like GRRR had a series of news, some really good news over the course of May that led into the news it's having today about a $2 billion infrastructure deal with Supermicro and in India. I mean, all this news sounds great. I think it's, for me, it's the chart that looks a little concerning. Today's candle, right now it looks like a reversal candle. I don't know. It just depends on how this is going to end today. But you have an RSI that's over 84. This has gone on a huge run. We're coming up to an area of resistance from the summer of 2025. I wouldn't be a buyer up here, but I think this looks like it could still continue higher following a pullback. You're getting pretty close to a golden cross on the daily. And I would say as long as this continues to hold above 20, I think there's some higher prints in the future for this. Yep, DXST is open and it traded slightly higher. 480 is now the high.
It is.
Yep.
I didn't even see it on that. Come on. Come on.
What do you?
I'm waiting for this stupid thing to load here. Let me just try refreshing. And I wanted to pull up your DXST as a visual aid.
Velo 3D Systems just had a suddenly substantial candle.
That pulled back though today, didn't it?
It dropped out of the gate, kind of found a little base around the mid 20 handle, and now we just had a nice candle take us right back up near the open. Not on a whole lot of volume though.
This also, Zach, I'm going to borrow your term here. This also looks downtrendy after that big move higher.
Velo?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's take a look at this, because I don't have a lot of Velo anymore. I still have some, but on that move up, I was selling into that. So I'm just waiting for this to come back in some more and get some support, because I think that there's going to be more opportunities for this. We might actually be at a spot, if this goes under 20, that might be a good opportunity. We have the 20-day SMA at 1910. Could certainly see the price coming down there. Let me look at some larger time frames. I could see this coming in for another week. And then we'll have the SpaceX Roadshow and the IPO later that week, and that could give a lift to these space ins again. So I think, we're going to probably see some weakness this week.
C13, what you just hit on there, that's something that I'm wondering. I'm wondering, do we get like a re-energization? I wanted to say re-energized. Re-energization, that's not a word. Do we see the space trade re-energized with the SpaceX IPO, or do we maybe get a sell the news on that?
Well, if these names come down, I think that as we get closer to that, they'll turn around. So I think we're seeing some of that profit taking right now. And we could end up seeing, those names come in on when it IPOs.
This Velo move, sorry to interrupt you, 13, but this Velo move has continued since you mentioned it, and it's now gone red to green.
Right. I got it on my screen. But that's certainly a possibility. But I skeptical that we'll see a whole lot of. I don't think the whole theme is going to just completely be over, because I have very, very bullish sentiment on the entirety of the space industry. It's
me too.
Brand new, wide open, unregulated area. So I think that's just there's so many opportunities that we're going to have from being able to send that kind of weight into space. I think it's just going to be the opening of a new horizon for trading, but it could still take some time. I think we could see some rotation out of names in order to make room for SpaceX. That's something we talked a lot about.
I think that we're going to, not only are we going to see that, but we're also going to see some of these other ones too, like Anthropic and OpenAI. Like, I think that is going to be a continued thing of selling to raise funds for that, because you're right.
Yeah, we have a lot of big IPOs coming out this year.
Yeah,
and I think that we're seeing all that because there's this concern that Warsh, the new Fed chair, is going to really push that quantitative tightening, and that's not really great for M&A. So I think that you're going to see a lot of these IPO and M&A and IPOs. I think we're going to see a lot of these IPOs get pushed out here that have been, taking their time. So we could even see maybe Databricks. I expect we'll see Quantinuum. Anduril is another one that
I forgot about that.
That might also file an S1 this year. So we'll see. But there's a lot of IPO names that I think we're going to start to see, and two are already out there right now: the SpaceX and Anthropic.
Yeah,
I don't think we're done.
Yeah, I think you're right. G-Man here saying SPY is flat, doesn't know if it's going to go up or down. Indeed, I actually did scalp the 0 DTE calls one time, but it was lunch money. It was nothing really to speak of here, and you had to buy the dip. What I was hoping for was that this was going to break and go higher. Not in it right now. We'll see if we get it at the moment. My indicator has flashed several buy and sell signals, so the indicator itself doesn't necessarily think we're going to run here.
So Velo came up to the 200 EMA, seeing some resistance there, trying to work its way through all the pre-market consolidation. But if we manage to get back over the 200 the 200 EMA on the 5-minute, I think the next area of resistance could be up closer to 23, maybe 22.90.
Here we go on SPY. This looks like it's trying 657. So there we go. Popped right through it. Okay, we'll see if we get to 658. Seth, question here. I just got into investing. Welcome, Seth. Hopefully you stay in it for the rest of your time on this planet. I bought 6 shares of STX at $400, and it's now around $950 a share. And I'm curious if you guys think they will do a stock split in July when they have their Q4 earnings. Okay, I have no idea. And I'm sorry to answer your question like that. I have no idea if the company will do a stock split. Oftentimes, I've noticed that when I think companies should do a stock split, they just don't for whatever reason. So I'm not sure. I have no idea on that particular name. I will say, though, on your trade, that's awesome. You are up over 100%. Just kind of thinking back to some of the rules that we talk about, when you're up that much on an equity, what's the plan here? Are you in this for the long term? Since you're new, are you looking to maybe raise cash for other plays? What's your plan long term with that? Do you want to hold that long term?
I'm going to answer his question too, but DXST, I just drew a trend line here from the 2 highs in the pre-market, and that gave me a bit of a target that we're kind of beelining for. I just took a quick trade in DXST. I don't have a position anymore, but that was a fun little ride up to 547. Real quick with
are these the 2 candles? One from the after hour, one from the pre-market? Gotcha. Okay.
Yes, that's correct. TX. So when it comes to reverse splits, one of the big concerns is, how is that going to affect the share structure? Is this going to make it so heavy that it's very, very hard to trade and see further upside? I don't think that could necessarily be the case with Seagate because their float is under 200 million shares. So if they did like a 1 for 2, then you're still like 400 million shares. I don't think that's a super heavy, share structure for a company like this. When you're talking like, other companies like, let's say Walmart that has billions of shares, that's when it starts to get a little, or even Apple, that's when it starts to get, harder for this to move around. I think Seagate, you're still going to see the same thing if they did do a forward split. It's going to be harder to trade, a little bit heavier, but I don't think it's going to have as much of the downside as some of those other billion share float names do. That would be my thought on this. I think this would be okay to do a forward split, but there are going to be some pressures that's going to keep this from going up a whole lot because of now the float's so much bigger.
And I also don't know that I can say at all if they're going to announce it when they have their earnings too. So I think I like your plan the most, Seth. I will probably sell 2 of the shares, book the profits, which is a ton of profits, and then kind of see what happens. I also might suggest putting a stop on the remaining of your shares in the green so that at least it's just impossible for you to lose on that. That's the way I approach things. That's the way I approach things when I was also buying like a little bit of some of these expensive stocks. I was just making sure that along the way, I was putting some of the money into my pocket and not leaving all of the gains unrealized. But good question, good discussion. 13, thank you for that.
Kilborn, so yes, Warsh's strategy is not QE tightening, it's quantitative tightening, just QT. Quantitative easing tightening is it's quantitative
I think
tightening.
that's what he meant, but
I think that's what he meant.
Right.
But yes, his strategy is going to be quantitative tightening, reduction of that money supply. I think that's one of the big reasons why you're seeing all this M&A and IPO activity. Seagate looks like it's still trying to gear up to go higher, by the way. Anyway.
Here's ARM. This is bouncing a little bit.
No worries, Kilborn.
Yeah, it's all good. We just need to make sure. If we're going to read it, we need to make sure. So sometimes we explain it. Sergeant Sexy, I went on a walk, but I'm back for more money.
Sexier than before.
Love it.
So INFQ did go as high as 1973. It's trying to hold above VWAP. Still good, a good chance for seeing 20 here. But this is looking like it's starting to run into some struggles for this price. VSH. Wow, no one answered my capacitor.
Google is continuing its bounce. It's only down 2.3%. Let me bring up VSH. Jay, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Because this is in electronics, and I think this is they do semiconductors and I believe capacitors as well, but I don't know. It's an electronic circuitry, so looks like they just had earnings last month. Nice earnings print, guided higher than the estimates. Look at the chart here on this one. Oh my God.
Well, Lance here saying now might be at the bottom of its daily pullback. Might want to wait that out. Wait for it to confirm that. Sorry, 13. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well, VSH, when you look at a monthly chart, we're up at the May 2000 high. It's funny because this looks very similar to how Cisco looked. I don't know if you have the data going back to 2000.
Oh, I do.
Okay, but remember Cisco was very similar.
Yeah, yes, you are absolutely right. All right, this Pavel guy's getting banned. What an absolute clown. I'm sorry, guys. There you go.
Redwire on the upside. It's one of the picks and shovels of the space play. Good stuff there. It's just awesome to see how much this ran in May. This was under $9.
Which
May.
one? Sorry.
Redwire.
Oh, Redwire. Yeah, that was it. That
fantastic 3x run.
Yeah, that and Velo. Two of the best space plays without a doubt.
Marvell back to 270. Nice.
Sergeant Sexy saying, Ryan, your Copen interview was incredible information ahead of the curve. Remarkable job. I really appreciate that. I'm going to say this. Like, I love the trading action with you guys. I love the fast-paced action. But one of my favorite things are talking to the company CEOs directly. And the fact that I'm in a position where I can do that in front of you guys and then have those clips make their way around the internet, I absolutely love it. Love seeing this. Love what they're doing there. Love the reshoring of all of the technology for our warfighters to our shores. All this entire story, I just love, love, love. I'm glad that you liked it as well.
Joe is saying, based on Google's close at 372 yesterday and the 1.8% dilution, the current share price, the current price 364 is a key level. So we kind of got a gap fill almost today, and then it's recovering. If you look at this gap that was created from April 29th to the 30th,
and which one is this?
Google.
Oh, sorry.
We filled that today, and it seems to be rebounding. I still think that even if we do come back up to 371 or so, we're going to run into some resistance. I believe the 50-day SMA is still going to end up getting tested. So with that in mind, I think 350 is going to be a spot to watch for. I might be wrong about that. This is a nice reversal candle that we've got going on here. But part of me just thinks that there still could be a little bit more downside here once we try to get back up to 371, 372.
Okay.
Oh man, Selena's killing it with Redwire. She entered at 8.
Love it.
3x winner right there. Oh look, GXAI is actually getting going here. This may provide some trading for us.
I clicked on the wrong thing. It looks like. Hang on a sec. I clicked on Marv. What is going on here? GXAI. Here we go. Right to the VWAP. All right, 199. We'll test that too.
I think somewhere between 210, 215 is going to be the big resistance area. There's going to be some movement through this consolidation that may make it slow, but I think 210, 215, that's a spot to watch for resistance. And there is a seller at 210, by the way.
Okay.
LASE, that's trying to print some new session highs. Still not above the pre-market high of 147, but to me, it looks like it's still trying to go for it. Quantum is coiling. BlackBerry double digits coming soon. Let's go. Yep. Let's see 10. See, I think between 10 and 12 is where I think we see this go to, and then it'll probably cool. But this was just awesome with BlackBerry, and it's something I was trying to point out a lot on the monthly chart about when this thing goes over its 50-month SMA on a with volume.
That was the
goes
pattern.
on a run. It goes on a run. We had 10 years of data showing that this is the case.
Looking around here. Selena, you yesterday, I just noticed this because I was just looking at the port here. You yesterday called out the Starwood dip. It dipped more and look right back on. Right back on. Always add on weakness on that name, not on days it's trading higher.
My thing has just been, add on it when it's under 17.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Joe, I'm sure they knew. I'm sure they knew. But I still think that I think that there's still a little bit more of a shakeout ahead. But I believe that Google's going to be great. I think we're going to see this come back up, no problem. But I think it's going to shake out weekends first.
SKM call sweeps here. This is SK Telecom. This at the highs of the day. The call sweeps on this looked to be 45.50. So maybe it was a spread, but right at the top end of that range here. MU is taking off, says Lion.
It's moving.
Oh, I see what you did there. Move over.
Wow, side of space. Great mention there by Forsman. This is having a nice morning here, up 13.5%. The thing that makes me concerned with this one is I haven't looked at this in a while. Oh, it looks like they just had an offering last week. I haven't looked at this in a while, and I don't know what other customers or clients they've got going on aside from Lone Star, which is going to be they're the ones that want to put data centers in space with Sidus. So I would need to spend some more time looking into this and seeing what else they're working on. But this is a data center play. It's a data center in space play.
And the more I hear, the more I think those are coming. 13. It's just a matter of time.
Oh yes,
just a matter of time. Initially, when I first heard that, I was like, "Pie in the sky?" ? But no. More like data center processing in the sky. Indeed.
I know I probably sound way off my rocker right now, but we have the technology that we need in order to move that entire industry off planet. You can mine asteroids. You can mine for ice. You can mine for critical minerals. It's a large endeavor that's going to take a lot of time to set up. But if you look at what's all the different space mining and space manufacturing companies out there, they're getting pipe investment. I think we're going to see some SPACs later on in the year that are going to be geared towards expanding industrialization in space. I think that's where we're headed. I think that one of the big goals is to get a lot of heavy industry off planet.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And if Starship is one of the ways that you're able to get it into orbit, giddy up. Ondas bouncing after its customary PR and pull. I say it tongue in cheek, but also kind of serious.
Yeah, it is really hot today. It was getting hammered like in the past week, but I think it's because they had an offering or capital raise of some kind. Is that moving on the Blue Origin delay, ASTS? I don't think it is. Let me look and see what's going on here with this one, because this is I don't really think this has a whole lot to do with Blue Origin at all. SpaceX is the one that's been sending their satellites up, their Bluebird satellites.
And 13, correct me if I'm wrong, but the biggest takeaway from that Blue Origin explosion was the damage to the launch pad, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily the rocket, but the fact that the launch pad is damaged and we're probably looking at a year before they can even do another launch from it.
So yeah, and the damage that was done to that site, you had the launch pad collapse. So the flame diverter channel, that all caved in. You had one of the 2 lightning towers collapse. The other one that's still standing doesn't look like it's going to stay standing, so that's going to have to come down. There's a water tower that's still standing. That might have to come down. There's other infrastructure around the pad that was damaged. That's going to have to be replaced. The explosion shot a ton of debris and crap into a facility that prepares the rockets for the vehicle that takes into the pad. I mean, there's a lot of things that we're talking like well over $1 billion. The rocket alone was over $100 million. I mean, it's just a real sad state of affairs. But they could be out 12 months at least.
JJ here saying, why did it explode in the first place? I don't think we've got that yet. I know Bezos was saying they're looking into the cause for it right away, but I haven't heard anything on that.
Yeah, and I've watched the video plenty of times. It didn't look like it was just a sudden rupture of something. It looked like things were starting to fail in a sequence, but I don't have a clear answer on why it failed. I think it may have had to do with one of the engines, but when I get some more information, I'll let you guys know. They don't need to start all over. They don't need to start all over.
Billy mentioning SPY, this thing has continued to grind higher there. So I'll tell you what, this was tough today. This was real tough today, but this did end up working. The signals from the indicator ended up working here on SPY, and this is at the day highs now. 760. We'll see if we take out yesterday's high. I don't know. Can I get you guys to take a look at ENVX? Yeah, we can. I don't think we looked at it today, but I feel like we looked at ENVX recently. It's up about 1% here. Still thinking that the next area here is probably 9. I've got this at 911. So maybe 9 to 9.25. Sorry, 13.
The explosion happened at the pad. It didn't send flames flying throughout the entire company. It just happened at the pad. Come on.
Can you imagine? It didn't send flames flying down the hallways of the headquarters.
Yeah, they have other.
I shouldn't even be laughing at this, but I am. I'm sorry.
They have other facilities. They have, they have all their data. It's not like this, one rocket explosion was a complete loss of the entire company. Yeah. Now,
so ENVX, you got any thought on the chart here? To me, this looks like a nice little kind of move off of this area here. I would say 7 or 6. To me, it sure looks like 9, 9.25 is your next resistance area.
This thing is it's funny because it seems like it's a roller coaster, like for real, a roller coaster. If you look at a daily chart going back to 2021, what is this thing doing? Oh, BJDX just fell out of bed. That might be finished for the morning.
So now, by the way.
Yeah, NVX, this thing runs up and then it comes back in. Finds a base and then runs up again. And it seems like these run-ups, they were happening in the fall, and then they started happening in the summer. Now they're still happening in the summer. I don't know, but I think you could draw a trend line from these peaks and just be like, well, the next time this thing has one of these crazy runs that it goes on, it's going to hit that trend line. That's what I would be going with.
Yeah, and to 13's point about how this thing moves up and then it likes to come back in. I mean, to me, that puts even more pressure on 9 to 9.25 to really kind of get this taken out. Commercial lithium ion or Li ion battery cells. So this is a battery play in our battery theme. We know what's interesting. We've talked about AMPX Cooler had a move here today. 13, you talked about this one earlier. They had battery news. They're up almost 14% now.
Nice. And then line, no way would I be Bezos' partner. I'd be more Musk's partner. I'm way more into SpaceX than I am Blue Origin. I got you. I know you're trolling. But yeah, Blue Origin. I'm sure they're going to certainly have a big presence in this space race. But I think this is, for me, it's all systems go for SpaceX. They're far and away the leader globally.
This is a good PR here for Cooler. I wish there were numbers in this.
So they did have some kind of news today? I haven't looked at their PRs.
Yeah, but the only new they had PR here about they enters into a prototype development and fabrication agreement with US-based defense drone manufacturer to design, develop, test, and deliver prototype lithium-ion battery packs for UAVs and handheld mobile controllers. This is still we talked about this. We talked about batteries really being a part of the drone theme. We talked about Cooler. We talked about AMPX, and you're getting a PR saying exactly that. I just wish that there were numbers in here. That's all.
And I understand that. And a lot of times we've been seeing a lot of PRs that don't necessarily provide numbers. But I mean, I think this is still a great piece of news because
it is.
Think about how many drones are being made. Yeah, think about how many drones are being made. They're going to test batteries for all of those. Oh, they got business. And they also have high short interest. Let's look at the days to cover. Not
Joe saying, isn't Blue Origin one of those newfangled ED tablets? No, I believe that's Blue Chew because they play those commercials on CNBC every damn morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. Sorry, 13. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to rant a little.
No worries. I was just talking about Cooler's short interest. 23% of the float short. It looks like that's some of the highest short interest they've had ever. No. It looks like back in 2023 it was higher, but it's a pretty high short interest. The days to cover doesn't quite meet our parameter, but it's almost 4 days. So I think we're seeing a little squeeze here as well.
AMPX, Cooler, both having great days. ENVX not having such a great day. Wiz, take care of yourself, man. We'll see you tomorrow.
Take care, Wiz. Our DM been great. This thing's been awesome. Let's see. We did come off of what was this? We hit 50, right? Let me see here. Yeah, looks like we did hit 50. Actually, we hit 52, and that's been a bit of a resistance area there, which is interesting because that's kind of this consolidation area back from November of 22 that the price is having a hard time getting through. But if it does, the next area where we could see some resistance might be just before this massive gap from about 55 to 60 almost. And this was back from the drop in July 2023.
Okay, here we go. So I should have shouted this poll question out earlier. I'm sorry I didn't. The results are in. I just want to thank everybody for voting. We actually did get pretty good participation despite me dropping the ball here. Outside of the SpaceX IPO, so take that one off the table. Which of the following potential 2026 IPOs are you most excited about? The 4 choices were Anthropic, OpenAI, Databricks, and Canva. Anthropic winning with 63%, OpenAI at 24%, Databricks at 7%, and Canva at 6%. Part of me wonders if Databricks performs like Cerebras did, 13. That to me, it seems like the blueprint.
The 2 that I wanted on the list. I hope Anduril IPOs, and I'm looking forward to Quantinuum. That's a great joke, Joe. Blue Origin spelled BLEW. That's awesome.
Toasty right there.
Yeah.
HPE, so that was up 30+% after its earnings. It's holding here at 25%. Really just kind of holding sideways here. Sure looks like 58. If it loses that, it might go lower, though.
Inflection has a seller around 1970 that has taken the price back down to some of the highs of the pre-market. Looks like all those movers from this morning are coming down to test some support areas.
Palantir was one of the weak ones earlier. That is having put flow, and that is continuing to move lower. Now, also one of the weak ones for earlier, also getting put flow and moving lower.
And you know, Brian, the thing I like about Anduril is if we do get that IPO this year, we could see another run in Bello because they are a strategic partner.
That's right.
Of Anduril.
Yep, that's a good call.
So I really would love to see Anduril IPO this year. Bitcoin
getting in on now at 110 or not at all? Okay, Derek. So 110 is your buy spot there. Lion, would you add at 110 with Derek on that? Let me know. Bitcoin below 68K and Apple at the highs. Big Mama 310. All right, 13. We're out of time here. It really flew yet again today. I know it keeps doing that. Any closing words for our group?
Well, folks, time flies when you're having fun, and that's what we had today. Just come on back here tomorrow. We'll find some more movers. We'll find some more stock to trade, and we'll have some more fun. So until then, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
All right, 13, take care of yourself. We will see you tomorrow, folks. Really good stuff here this morning. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. And if you're a hockey fan, enjoy that Stanley Cup final tonight. We're going to be back at this again tomorrow. No Anne-Marie today. We will see her on Friday. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused, and we'll see you tomorrow.